Welcome to Between Both Cheeks, the podcast where we talk business, beauty, and butts. We'll be stripping down the aesthetics industry, whether you're here for spicy beauty tips, savvy business advice, or just a little banter. We've got you covered from front to back. So pull up a cheek and get ready to discover what happens between both cheeks.
Hello, our beautiful listeners. I have a very special guest today. We have tried very hard to get her on. Our schedules did not match up because she is so busy, but finally I got her. Please welcome Lana Kerr, who is the founder of CO2Lift. Welcome to the podcast.
Wow, Luba, so nice to be here. I'm so glad we're finally connecting. I'm really excited about this conversation we're going to have today.
Listen, two women in business, we're busy.
That's it. That is with just not only business, family, all the other things that go along with being a woman. But I'm certainly happy to be one.
Absolutely. Amen to that. So I want to dive right in. I'm very inspired by your story. I love a woman in business. So tell me a little bit about CO2Lift, what it is, what you stand for, why you got into it.
Okay. So, just to kind of give you a little history on myself, I've always had a passion for helping people to just become better. So although my educational background is in accounting and finance, which is where I started my professional career, and I went back to school and studied nutrition and opened weight loss clinics. And I found that it was just very helpful in helping people to feel better about themselves. When people were able to lose excess weight and feel better, they just were just better people all around. Eventually, our business model changed and we went more virtual online with telemedicine for that because we've treated over 30,000 patients through that program. We actually opened a spa and to skin. And the reason why we did that is because we found that once people started losing weight, they started taking better care of their skin. So just looking for something that was as unique as our weight loss program, which is this was before the whole Ozempic craze. We discovered carboxytherapy, and that's pretty much how CO2Lift was born. This is the first gel or topical carboxytherapy, and then we created CO2Lift. It's a technology that was developed in Japan, and we have the exclusive rights to that technology.
Okay, so what does it do?
Okay, so carboxytherapy is the use of carbon dioxide to regenerate the tissue. Once you put CO2 gas into the tissue, the body naturally responds by unloading oxygen and picking up the CO2 lift because there's a natural affinity for hemoglobin and CO2. So if you want to push oxygen to an area, you have to introduce CO2. And that's what this does. So the first mode of business was to prove that that is actually happening. Because typically what people know as carboxytherapy is a tank of CO2 gas with a needle that they put into the skin. So in this case, when you mix these two gels together, it creates a gas. But how do we know this? So in our first clinical study, we looked under the skin with something called a video capillaroscopy machine, and we looked at what's happening with the capillaries. We saw that as soon as it was introduced, the capillaries increased 28%, forcing oxygen into the area and getting rid of waste. In fact, we more recently did a perfusion study. We wanted to see how much tissue oxygenation happened as a result of exposure to CO2 lift. And we used it with varicose ulcers, which varicose ulcers are deficient of oxygen. Once we applied the CO2, we're seeing increase of oxygen 100% immediately after. And then we measured it again, 24 hours, 48 hours. So it's no surprise that you see that these wounds close very quickly. I mean, we've done a diabetic ulcer study, and we can close a non-healing diabetic ulcer in as little as 8 days. So that's how powerful and how much of a regenerator CO2Lift carboxy is.
This is wild. So you talked about Ozempic, and I know there's a big Ozempic craze right now. Tell me how that is relatable to this product and why it works kind of in conjunction with it.
So it's two different things. So when we were in our weight loss, at the time, we were using HCG. So I just mentioned that because of the fact that now everybody's, into Ozempic and losing weight. However, there is definitely an opportunity here, because when people start to lose a dramatic amount of weight, their skin loses elasticity. I mean, a lot of what is happening, they're losing their structure and their muscles. So different things or protocols can help you to tighten your skin. And CO2 Lift has been very effective in doing that. We've shown through our clinical studies that after 6 applications, you can increase elasticity 26% in the skin within a space of a month, 6 CO2 application, which is very helpful for people who are doing weight loss, because they're going to find their elasticity, they lose elasticity in their skin. So CO2 Lift is a great option for them as well.
That's huge right now. Like this
Yes.
you must be super busy, the business and the salons. And I mean, it's because of the craze. I mean, you see it with aging, you see it with weight loss. Like,
Yeah. Yes, for sure. I mean, you're seeing so we have, our business model really is with plastic surgeons, dermatologists, skincare professionals, hormone specialists, gynecologists for that reason. So plastic surgery has, booming because, again, with weight loss, then you have to take skin away and those things that go along with that. And they're using the CO2 lift post-operatively to help heal after surgery. Dermatologists are using it for skin, for anti-aging, for healthier skin, and especially because now more people are going away from, fillers. They're going more into biostimulators, and CO2 lift is a bioregenerator. What it means, we're putting something into your body that's going to help it to heal itself. And that's pretty much what CO2 lift. It has often been compared by plastic surgeons to topical hyperbaric oxygen therapy, because it's the similarities. It's increasing blood supply, it's increasing tissue oxygenation, it's improving healing. And that's what any skin regenerator, that's what anything in anti-aging, what you need to happen. For the hormone specialists and gynecologists, because of our CO2 Lift V, the vulva vaginal application, that's helping women to reclaim youthful functionality of this area of the body that before now has not been discussed, how aging affects our quality of life down there. So I'm very happy to be involved in that as well.
okay, I wanted to dive into this. I thought it was going to take a little bit longer to dive into this. Tell me about the carboxyvaginal treatment kit. So
Yes.
there's an at-home treatment, and then there's a professional treatment, correct?
Correct. So we have a professional for the CO2 Lift Carboxy for the face and body. The vaginal kit is the same thing that doctors are selling. The one that we sell through our website is a little different formulation from what doctors have, because you can only get the CO2 Lift Pro from a provider. So it's the same mechanism of action, just a little less concentrated and some other slight difference in formulations. But the CO2 Lift Vulva Vaginal, it's the same that a doctor has that we sell through our website. Now, what I love about this conversation is now we're normalizing or bringing awareness to the fact that aging affects more than the skin on our face and our neck. It affects our vulva vaginal skin. What that means is after the age of 25, our things start slowing down. That's when aging begins, even on our face and our skin. Well, blood flow starts slowing down, and the clitoris, which is our pleasure center, it requires optimal blood flow to operate optimally, or it starts to shrink. And so that's what CO2 Lift has been very good at, bringing back blood supply. Remember, we talked about that. Circulation. That's going to help our clitoris to function so it's rich with blood, so we can experience pleasure in the way that we want to. But another thing that happens down there for us is this tissue in our vaginas. That tissue is similar to the tissue under our eyes. It's very thin. It shows aging fast. So it's easy to get thinner and drier, which results in less lubrication, less sustained lubrication, eventually thinner, drier, almost going into painful sex. Once that happens with our tissue, then we're more susceptible to UTIs. We're more susceptible to infections. So if we want to keep that area operating where it's comfortable to us, not only sexually, but just feeling in our body, we want to make sure that tissue is healthy. We want to make sure blood supply we're taking care of that. And that's what the CO2Lift B has been very, very, very successful at. And we have thousands of happy patient stories in that regard. And especially for women who don't feel comfortable taking hormones. Now, I'm a big advocate of hormone therapy. I take it myself, but some women may not choose to because of whether they have a history of whatever, for whatever reason.
Yes.
This is an option. But even when you're taking hormones, because I was taking hormones before I thought of this, because I started still seeing a difference with sensitivity. And when I was able to understand why that is so, then we said maybe this would work. And we've done 3 double-blind clinicals. And it's clear. The women that got the fake gel showed no change in sexual function. The women that got the CO2Lift B showed significant change in arousal, lubrication, orgasm, less pain in sex, even in stress incontinence.
I'm loving this part of the business. I think this is so important to normalize this conversation. Obviously, I've started a company that, does anal bleaching. So I've tried to normalize that. Not only is it anal bleaching, but it's also like vaginal lightening or penis lightening and all of that. So this kind of fills into that gap of a conversation that hasn't been had for a very long time. So thank you for making a product like this and bringing it to the market, because
I think that's important too, the aesthetic appearance, because especially because more and more women are removing the hair down there. They want a certain look of it. If it's going to help you in confidence, I just was in a conversation just prior to ours. Our biggest sex organ is our brain for women. We're very cerebral. So it's about how you feel in your skin, and women feel more confident, especially if that's for some women, they want lightening, they want anal bleaching, they want those things to feel more confident. So there's that factor that's important. And I'm so glad that you're being able to provide that for women. And then there's a physiological aspect, which is what the CO2Lift B is doing, helping to really regenerate that tissue. But I think the act of what you're doing and what I am doing in terms of self-care, it's actually bringing attention, because, we have very few sexual cues as women. I often say that a man can go outside, the breeze will blow and he'll get an erection. That's not how we are made. You know what I'm saying? So we need to think about it. So taking care of that area of the body just brings attention and awareness to it, makes us feel more sexy, makes us expect sex to be great, makes us expect to feel this way. It's going to help with the whole experience for us as a woman.
I couldn't agree more. And I think, and sometimes we get, comments like, you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be advertising this. Women already have so many things that they're concerned about. How dare you do this? I like to compare it when you go out and buy new lingerie, or if you buy a matching bra and panty, and just the feeling that you have underneath your clothes that is only for you. It doesn't have to be for anyone else. It's only for you, and how that it just gives you that extra little pep in your step.
Yes. That's such a big point, because I think as women, we have so many different roles, right? We put on a cap for motherhood and we're a nurse. We're taking care of our family, maybe in the kitchen. So we're the waitress or the chef. Well, there's a role that we have, and role playing and putting on the garb. That's why in movies, they dress you and to look at, for you to feel the part. When we're getting into our sexiness and that, those things help us to be able to fill that role and be that person that we want, that is going to help give us that fulfillment. So putting on the garb, the underdressing that you talked about, putting on, whether and bleach, whatever that is, that's going to make us put on the role of that personality, it's only going to help us to feel better. So I'm totally in agreement with that.
I love this. Where can people find this product, and where can they go get the service done?
So they can ask their provider, whether they're going their skincare provider, if they're going to a med spa, their dermatologist, they will have access to it. Also, they can go to CO2Lift.com. There we have that they can buy the product. In fact, we're offering your listeners a discount. When they in the checkout, they put Luba 10 and they get 10% to try any of the products on the site.
You guys, you have to get the CO2V. I'm just saying, Luba 10, 10% off. Try it. It's going to change your life. I'm excited to try it. I'm going to buy it. Absolutely.
Yes.
I'm going to,
Then
this fits the whole package. This is so great. And then, because we do have a lot of listeners that are business professionals. So how do they get in touch with your company to start providing the service or carrying the brand?
Thank you for that question. So CO2, we have our main Instagram is CO2Lift, but the provider, and which they can DM, and our support system are very good at sending them the provider application. There's also another one, CO2 Pro, CO2 Lift Pro, where they can also go into and see what other providers are doing. And we have so much excitement around both lines. My Instagram handle is the Lana Kerr. I'm very good at responding to DMs. They can reach out to us too, but we're definitely available. Also, just emailing support@CO2Lift. Whatever we can do to help provide information that you can help your patients or customers, we're glad to be able to do that and provide that information for you as well.
Amazing. And then as far as licensing, do they have to be a licensed esthetician? Any sort of rules and regulations about that?
Yes. For them to be able to have access to the pro, they need to have, depending on the state, there are different requirements that they need to do to be able to carry the line. But if they're a provider where they're providing skincare already, more than likely they'll be able to have access to the products.
This was so inspiring and exciting. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today. I hope to have you back to dive deep in a little bit more if you're open to it.
Yes.
Yes. But this is great, you guys.
After you try the products, Luba, I think that will be a great time.
I think absolutely. I think we should for sure. Girl, it's going to be a spicy podcast. So though you will put all the information in the link below. Also, Luba 10 is going to give you 10% off. Again, you can reach out if you are a professional, if this is something that you guys are interested. Lana, are you going to be at any training seminars, or is there anything where they can kind of, any shows that you're doing or anything like that that's coming up? Okay, talk about.
We do tons. I think the best place to go, I mean, we're wrapping up the end of the year. We did 70 meetings this year, and we're looking at more next year. If you go to lumis.com, and you go to events, you'll see our list of all the meetings that we do and that we're coming up in 2025. So you'll be able to see that there. And we do provide also information, webinars from top key opinion leaders in their various field, experts in plastic surgery, in dermatology, in hormone therapy. You'll have access to those also by going into lumis.com and looking on the events page.
And can you just spell that out for our listeners?
Yes. LU as in umbrella, M as in Mary, I, S as in Sam, Q, U as in umbrella, E as in Edward.com, lumis.com.
There you go. And I am actually super excited to try this because I am a cancer survivor, so I can't do anything with hormone replacement. So this is going to be game changer. So thank you for that information.
Oh yes, Luba, and you'll be getting, so you can try it for yourself. We have many. I think one of the things that's pretty much how we kind of really got going in when people survive breast cancer, for instance, and certain of the therapies like chemotherapy, it may thin their vaginal tissue, so they may bleed during. It's not as enjoyable, and we have thousands of testimonials from breast cancer survivors who are using this, who are reclaiming their life. In fact, one of our reps in LA, who is one of the top reps that we have, she came to us because her gynecologist recommended the CO2Lift. She survived cancer. She was recently married and was like, what do I do? It changed her life. And then that's how she met me. And then she eventually started working with us. So her passion really helps to help people to see that there's a solution for this problem. So I cannot wait for you to try it.
I love this. I know that I keep saying that we're going to end, but we keep going here. And I think one of the most important things is like you lose so much of your femininity in cancer, especially if you have to go through treatment and you lose your hair, right? So there's that aspect of it. The skin changes not only on your face, but thank you for doing this because you really are changing lives. You really, truly are. This is not just superficial. This is a game changer. So thank you.
Welcome. You're welcome. I love what I do. Love it.
Perfect. Well, we will recap and do another podcast after I give some stuff a try, and we'll go from there. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Luba. Thanks for having me.